It wasn't just her last meal. It cost her everything. But it became the first step toward a $47 million destiny. Naomi was just 9, a black girl with nothing to her name. But when she saw a starving white boy behind a fence, she handed over her lunch. Every single day, for 6 months. No one told her to. No one even noticed. She just did it. When he finally left, Ethan turned back and made a wild, almost childish promise. "When I get rich," he said, "I'm going to marry you." Naomi laughed, then untied a red ribbon from her hair, tore it in half, and tied one piece around his wrist. Then 22 years disappeared like a breath in winter. Ethan grew up, became a CEO, and spent 5 years and a small fortune trying to find her. He bought up buildings, hired investigators, but it was like chasing a ghost. Nothing. But tonight would be different. A community meeting in Chicago. Naomi would be there, still wearing the other half of that ribbon. Neither of them knew they were seconds away from everything changing. At 6 a.m., Ethan Caldwell opened his eyes in a penthouse so expensive most people wouldn't earn enough in their lifetime to step foot inside. Floor-to-ceiling glass framed Lake Michigan, where the sunrise painted the waves gold. He didn't even glance. He never did. The espresso machine, an imported Italian model worth $7,000, started humming. He pressed the button and walked away before the cup finished filling. His closet was lined with 40 custom suits, all flawless. He grabbed the nearest one without even thinking. The apartment was always quiet. No photos. No keepsakes. No signs that anyone truly lived there. It looked like a hotel. It felt like a mausoleum. His phone buzzed, his assistant. "Board meeting at 9. The Thompson deal closed. $12 million. He typed back one word. Good. 12 million. And still, he felt nothing. He wandered to his home office, unlocked a drawer. Inside sat a small glass frame, barely protecting an old red ribbon, faded by time. This was the only thing that ever truly mattered. He touched the glass with the kind of care you give to memory. The fabric was fragile now, aging even under preservation. But every morning, he looked at it and asked himself the same thing. Where is she? The board meeting went exactly as expected. Handshakes, praise, backpats for another quarter of success. Ethan played his role, smiled, nodded, said the right words, felt nothing. Afterwards, his business partner Caleb pulled him aside. "You good, man? You've seemed off." "I'm fine. You've been saying that for 5 years, ever since you started buying up South Chicago." Ethan stayed silent. "Why that area, though? You know there's no real profit in it yet." "I have my reasons." Caleb studied his face for a beat. "This is about her, isn't it? That girl. The one you're still trying to find." Ethan's jaw clenched. "Drop it," he said quietly. "Maybe she doesn't want to be found." "I said drop it." Caleb raised his hands in surrender. "Just don't let this eat you alive." Too late. It already had. That afternoon, Ethan sat alone in his office, staring at a digital file. 5 years. 3 investigators. Hundreds of thousands of dollars. Still nothing. The final report read, "All leads exhausted. Naomi Brooks is a common name. Family moved. No trail since 2008. He opened a map of Chicago. 12 red pins marked every property he'd bought, all within a 2-mile radius of Lincoln Elementary School. If she was still in the city, still helping people like she always did, he figured she'd be nearby. So he built developments, hosted programs, created reasons to stick around. Waiting. His phone buzzed again. Community meeting. 7 p.m. South Chicago Community Center. He usually sent someone else. But tonight, something tugged at him. He typed, "I'll go myself." He didn't know why. Just a feeling. And with that feeling, the memories started crashing in again. They always did. He was 10. Chicago. Winter. 2 weeks alone on the streets after his mother died. Foster care tried once. The family said he was too difficult. What they didn't understand was he was just broken, grieving. They sent him back. So Ethan fell through the cracks. 2 weeks of sleeping in stairwells, digging through dumpsters, stealing when he had to. By day 14, he could barely stand. His body shook from hunger. That's when he found Lincoln Elementary. He sat outside the playground fence at lunchtime, watching kids eat and laugh and play. One teacher saw him and walked over. "You need to leave. You're scaring the students. Ethan tried to stand. His knees gave out. The teacher turned and walked away. And then he saw her. A black girl, about 9, with her hair braided in ribbons, stood watching him from the other side of the fence. Their eyes met. She didn't look scared. She looked heartbroken. Naomi Brooks lived just 3 blocks from that school in a crumbling housing unit with broken heaters. Her parents worked constantly, 3 jobs between them, and still barely paid the bills. Her grandmother raised her, taught her something simple but powerful. Baby, we don't have much, but we always share what we got. That day, during recess, her friends called out, Naomi, come on. But she couldn't move. She couldn't stop staring at the boy outside the fence. He looked like a skeleton wrapped in rags. His face hollow, lips cracked and bleeding. Kiera, her best friend, ran up beside her. What are you looking at? That boy. Oh, he's been there for days. Creepy. He's not creepy. He's hungry. Not our problem. He's just a kid. Like us. Naomi looked down at her lunchbox. Peanut butter and jelly sandwich. An apple. Juice box. A few crackers. It was everything she'd eat until dinner. But her grandmother's voice echoed again. We always share what we got. She picked up her lunch and walked toward the fence. Naomi, where are you going? Kiera called. She didn't answer. Up close, the boy looked even worse. He tried to speak, but no sound came. Hi, Naomi said gently. I'm Naomi. You look hungry. She pushed her entire lunchbox through the fence. Take it. It's okay. The boy grabbed the sandwich and devoured it in 4 bites, tears running down his cheeks. Then the apple. Then the juice. Every crumb. When he finally looked up, his voice cracked. Thank you. What's your name? Ethan. You okay, Ethan? He shook his head. No. Naomi's chest ached. I'll bring you lunch tomorrow, too. His eyes widened. You will. I promise. The bell rang, and she had to run. But she looked back. Once. Twice. 3 times. And there he was, sitting on the ground, clutching the empty juice box, watching her like she was the first kindness he'd ever known. Ethan blinked hard as the memory slipped away like fog in sunlight. The clock read 6:45 p.m. The community meeting was minutes away. Something in his gut said tonight wasn't like the others. He grabbed his coat, paused just long enough to touch the glass frame on his desk, the one holding that fragile red ribbon. I'm coming, Naomi, he whispered. I don't know if you'll be there, but I'm coming anyway. What Ethan didn't know was that Naomi would be there. And for 22 years, she'd been thinking about him, too. Every single day. At 6:55, Ethan stepped through the front doors of the South Chicago Community Center. The building was worn, peeling paint, buzzing lights, but spotless. Loved. Maintained. Alive. Inside, rows of folding chairs were filled, around 50 people. Families, elders, young organizers. Faces full of history, frustration, hope. Ethan adjusted his tie. His $1,000 suit suddenly felt like a costume. At the check-in table, a woman glanced up. Name: Ethan Caldwell. Caldwell and Associates. Her expression shifted instantly. Guarded. Wary. So you're the developer, she said. You actually showed up. Yes. Most send lawyers. I'm not most. She handed him a name tag. Her tone was flat. We'll see. As Ethan walked in, murmurs trailed behind him like whispers in a church. That's him. The millionaire. Probably here to tear everything down. He found a seat near the back. A woman in her 60s took the front. Strong presence. Steady voice. Welcome, everyone. I'm Gloria Whitman, president of the community board. Tonight, we're reviewing the proposal for redevelopment. She gestured to the screen behind her. Caldwell and Associates wants to build housing and renovate this center. But we've all heard promises before. Soft echoes of agreement rolled through the room. Mr. Caldwell will present his plan. Then, we'll open it up for questions. Real questions. She turned to Ethan. Mr. Caldwell? Ethan stood and made his way to the front. Every eye followed him. He tapped the remote. Images of sleek buildings, parks, and green spaces filled the screen. Good evening. I'm Ethan Caldwell. I grew up not far from here. So believe me, I know what broken promises look like. That got their attention. I'm not here to build luxury condos. What I'm proposing is 60% affordable housing, reserved for current residents, locked in at their current rent rates. Gasps. A few raised brows. The energy shifted. The community center will be renovated. New roof, heating, expanded programs. And it's all being funded by my company. He clicked again. Job training programs. Local hiring. Real investment in real people. I know you don't trust me, he said. Not yet. Maybe not ever. But I'm not here to take. I came to give back. A hand shot up. Gloria nodded. Yes, Jalen. Mr. Caldwell. A man in the second row said, what you call affordable isn't affordable to someone working minimum wage. Ethan nodded. Rents will be based on area median income, not market rate. And we're working directly with the housing authority. Another hand. An older woman stood. What about the shops we already have? We're offering lease protections, Ethan said, and relocation support if needed. No one gets pushed out. A voice from the center row broke in, sharp, pointed. How do we know you'll keep those promises? Developers always say this, then push us out anyway. Ethan turned and froze. A black woman stood tall, early 30s, in business attire. Natural hair, a notepad in hand. But it wasn't her words that hit him. It was her voice. Something about her voice. I grew up in this neighborhood, she continued. I've seen what broken promises do to our people. So what makes you different? Their eyes locked. And suddenly, Ethan couldn't breathe. She kept speaking. I work here now. I'm a social worker. I see the kids no one else sees. Homeless, foster, forgotten. Your buildings mean nothing if they displace the most vulnerable. Ethan's chest thudded like a drum. The voice. The eyes. It had to be her. He swallowed, his voice shaky. You're right to question me. May I ask your name? Naomi Brooks. The world tilted. Ethan gripped the edge of the table like a man falling. Naomi Brooks. After 5 years of searching, after dead ends and blank reports, she was standing 10 feet away. But she didn't recognize him. Of course she wouldn't. He'd changed. He wasn't that boy anymore. Gloria's voice snapped him back. Mr. Caldwell, are you all right? Ethan blinked. Naomi Brooks, you said? She looked confused. Yes, why? He took a breath. Did you go to Lincoln Elementary? Maybe, about 22 years ago. Her brow furrowed. Yes. How do you? His hands trembled. He couldn't stop it. Do you remember a boy outside the fence? A white boy, 10 years old, who you fed lunch to every day for 6 months? Naomi's notepad slipped from her fingers. She stared. The air left the room. Ethan, she whispered. Her hand rose to her chest, to a locket. Ethan nodded. Tears burned behind his eyes. It's me. I came back. The room erupted. Voices, questions, confusion, but Ethan only saw her. Naomi, the girl who saved his life. You're alive, she breathed, a tear rolling down her cheek. I told you I'd come back when I was rich, he said softly. Her hand covered her mouth. More tears. Gloria stepped in gently. Let's take a short break, 15 minutes. People shuffled out, whispering. But Ethan and Naomi didn't move. Eventually, they drifted toward each other, pulled by memory and something stronger. In a small office tucked away from the crowd, they sat. Just the two of them, behind a closed door. Ethan couldn't stop staring. Naomi couldn't stop crying. I can't believe it's you, she said. I can't believe you're alive. I almost wasn't, he replied. But you changed everything. She shook her head, tears falling freely. I just gave you my lunch. No, he whispered. You gave me hope. He leaned forward. Do you remember it all? Every day, she said, her voice cracking. I thought about you every single day for 22 years. Ethan's vision blurred. Tell me what you remember. Naomi closed her eyes. The first time I saw you, you looked so small, so scared. You'd been outside the fence for days. My friend said you were creepy, dangerous. But I looked in your eyes, and I knew you weren't dangerous. You were starving. She opened her eyes, tears in them. I had a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, an apple, a juice box. It was all I had until dinner. Ethan whispered, I ate it in 4 bites. I know, she said. I watched you, and I saw you cry, because someone finally saw you. Ethan swallowed hard, voice tight. You came back the next day. I promised I would, Naomi said softly. She stood, moved to the window. That second day, that was harder. Because the first day, it was impulse. But the second day, that was a choice. She turned, her eyes shimmering. I had to pack 2 lunches. One for me, and one for you. But we didn't have enough food. So I gave you mine. Ethan's breath caught. He hadn't known. Not any of that. Day 3, Naomi continued. My grandmother noticed. She watched me pack extra food. Didn't say a word, just started putting more in my lunchbox. Ethan listened, stunned. By the end of that week, my whole family knew. They worked more hours, scraped together extra money, just so I could keep feeding you. Your family barely had enough, he whispered. We didn't. But you had nothing. And you were alone. Do you remember our conversations? She asked. Ethan smiled, tears brimming again. Every word. You tell me about your day, what you learned, what book you were reading. You were so smart. She smiled faintly. You always said that. You asked questions. Good ones. Even at 10, I knew there was something about you. I didn't feel special, Naomi said. I know. That's why I kept reminding you. Naomi sat back down. Week 3, the teasing started. Ethan nodded. I remember. I told you to stop bringing me food. But I didn't, she said. Because you mattered more than their opinions. Kiera tried to pull you away, Ethan added. Every single day, Naomi nodded. She said I was weird. Mrs. Delgado caught you, didn't she? 4th week, she confirmed. She was going to report it. What happened? Ethan asked, leaning forward. I begged her. Told her you'd starve if I stopped. She looked at you. Really looked at you. Then told me she didn't see anything. And after that, she started slipping snacks into my cubby. Ethan's chest ached. People were kinder than I thought. Naomi's voice dropped. And then, winter came. Ethan closed his eyes. Yeah, that was the worst part. December, she whispered. It dropped to 15 degrees. You were out there in a threadbare jacket. No gloves. No hat. Your lips were blue. I remember. That afternoon, I ran home. Grabbed my winter coat, my dad's gloves, a scarf, a blanket from my bed. You gave me your coat, Ethan said. And you told me no. Said I'd be cold. I lied. I said I had another one. Ethan opened his eyes. You didn't. No. I froze in a sweater through recess for 2 months. Got sick. My grandma was worried sick. Naomi. I didn't know. You weren't supposed to, she said gently. Then you got really sick, she added. Week 5 of winter. You had a fever. Couldn't stop coughing. Couldn't even stand. I thought I was going to die, Ethan admitted. I thought so too. I ran home, begged my grandmother for help. She came, Ethan said, voice thick. She did. Brought medicine. Soup. Tea. We nursed you back to life. Through that fence. 2 full weeks. Ethan could still taste that warm soup. He could still hear her grandmother's voice. Your grandmother saved my life. We both did, Naomi said. That medicine, it was expensive. We needed it for my grandfather. But she gave it to me instead. Ethan's tears spilled freely now. I never knew what you gave up. We didn't see it as sacrifice, Naomi said. We saw it as the right thing to do. She reached across the space between them and took his hand. 6 months, she whispered. 120 days. Even when I was hungry. Even when I was cold. Ethan shook his head. Why? Why did you keep doing it? Naomi looked into his eyes. Because you deserve to live. And no one else was helping you. I would have died without you. I know. They sat in that truth for a long, quiet moment. Naomi smiled, soft but sad. The last day, that was the hardest. I had to leave, Ethan said. Foster care found a new placement. I knew, Naomi said. Mrs. Delgado told me. Said I had one more day with you. You brought so much food that day, Ethan said, a laugh slipping through his tears. Sandwiches, cookies, crackers, fruit. Everything I could carry, she nodded. I wanted to make sure you had enough. You gave me your ribbon, he said. She touched her locket. My favorite one. From my hair. Ethan pulled out his keychain. The other half. Faded. Worn. Still intact. I never took it off, he said. Not once. Not in 22 years. Naomi's sob broke free. You kept it. I kept everything. Every memory. Every word. Every moment. So did I. They stood. And then, finally, they embraced. Held each other like the world had paused. Like 22 years hadn't passed, but had simply circled back. Thank you, Ethan whispered against her shoulder. For saving me. For surviving. For being here. They pulled apart, both laughing through tears. I made you a promise, he said. You said you'd get rich and marry me, she smiled. I meant it. Naomi laughed, shaking her head. We were 10. I still meant it. Their eyes met again. Something passed between them. Old, powerful, unbroken. A knock on the door. Gloria's voice on the other side. Folks are waiting. 5 more minutes, Naomi called back. She turned to Ethan. What now? I don't know, he said. But I do know this. I'm not losing you again. And I'm not going anywhere. Good, Ethan smiled. Because we've got 22 years to catch up on. She laughed. And a community meeting to finish. Can we talk after? Yes, Naomi said. Then her expression grew serious. But Ethan, this project, is it really about helping people? Or was it about finding me? Ethan was quiet, then honest. Both. I wanted to help, because of what you showed me. But I hoped, if I stayed long enough, I'd find you. You built all this, looking for me? I built all this trying to become the man you saw in me. The one you believed I could be. Naomi's eyes filled again. You did it, she whispered. You became amazing. Because of you. They wiped their faces. Straightened their clothes. Ready? She asked. Ethan extended his hand. Together? Naomi took it. Together. They stepped out of the office, hand in hand. The moment they re-entered the meeting room, all 50 people turned. Whispers swirled. Stories had already begun to spread. Gloria stood at the front, waiting. Shall we continue? Gloria asked from the front. Ethan nodded, still holding Naomi's hand. And for the first time in 22 years, he felt whole. As they stepped back into the meeting room, it buzzed with quiet whispers. Gloria raised a hand to settle the crowd. I think we just witnessed something remarkable, she said. But we've still got work to do. Can you continue? Ethan nodded again. He didn't let go of Naomi's hand. He stepped forward, facing the room. What you just saw is why this project exists, he began. 22 years ago, I was a homeless, starving kid. And Naomi, she saved my life. Every day, for 6 months. The room went still. Not a single sound. Everything I built with her in mind. This isn't about profit. It's about creating the kind of community that saves kids, just like I was. A single clap broke the silence. Then another. The applause built slowly until it filled the room. The meeting continued for another hour. Hard questions. Honest answers. By the end, the community voted unanimously, yes to the project. As people filed out, many stopped to shake Ethan's hand, to hug Naomi, to thank them both. Soon, the room was empty. Just the two of them remained. That was intense, Naomi said, exhaling. I didn't mean to make a scene. I'm glad you did, Ethan said with a smile. She smiled too, but it faded into something more serious. But now we need to talk. They sat facing each other. Ethan went first. I want to help you, Naomi. Please, let me. Help how? Student loans. Rent. Whatever you need. She raised a hand, stopping him. Ethan, no. I don't want your money. But I have so much, and you. I didn't feed you so you'd owe me. I did it because it was right. Ethan looked down. I just want to give back. Then do it, she said gently. Give back to the community. To the kids who are where you were. But don't try to pay me off. She leaned in, her voice softer now. I need to know something. Did the boy I fed grow into a good man? Ethan met her gaze. I tried. Show me. He pulled out his phone and started swiping. Photos of affordable housing, scholarship ceremonies for foster youth, job training sessions. I employ people most wouldn't hire. I give second chances. Sometimes third. Naomi took the phone, scrolling through slowly. Her eyes filled again. You remembered everything I ever said. How could I not? Ethan whispered. You didn't just feed me. You saved my soul. Naomi looked up. That's what I needed to know. Not your bank account. Just that you became someone who cares. Does that make you proud? He asked. She nodded, voice catching. So proud I could burst. A quiet pause settled between them. Then Ethan said softly, You know, I promised you, when I was 10, that I'd marry you when I got rich. Naomi laughed, wiping her face. We were kids. I know, but I meant it. And I still do. She stopped laughing. Ethan, I'm not saying yes. Not now. That's crazy. We just found each other again. I'm not asking for forever, yet. Just dinner. Let me get to know the woman you became. Naomi hesitated. I don't know if this is a good idea. Why not? Because you're a millionaire, and I'm a social worker who barely covers rent. We live in two different worlds now. Ethan took both her hands. You are everything I've been searching for. You. That's it. Her eyes shimmered. This is crazy. I've waited 22 years. Can you give me just one chance? She studied him, and in his face, she saw the boy behind the fence. One dinner. As friends. No promises. Ethan grinned. As friends. I can do that. And whatever happens between us, this project continues. You keep helping, no matter what. Deal. Though for the record, I'm already in love with you. Naomi's breath caught. I've loved you since I was 10. She smiled. We'll see how you feel once you actually know me. She stood. It's late. I should go. Ethan stood too. Can I give you a ride home? I can take the bus. Please. She paused, then nodded. Okay, just a ride. They drove in a comfortable silence. She guided him to a modest apartment complex. This is it, she said. Home sweet home. She opened the door, then turned back. Thank you, Ethan, for coming back, for remembering. Thank you, he replied, for giving me something worth remembering. She smiled, turned, and stepped inside. At the door, she looked back, gave a small wave. Ethan watched until she was safe inside. Then he looked down at the worn red ribbon on his keychain. I found her, he whispered. Now I just have to win her heart. Over the next 2 weeks, they met 4 times, officially for community center planning. Unofficially, they just couldn't stay away. 1-hour meetings turned into 3. Business blurred into stories, jokes, long looks. Ethan noticed everything. How she always checked her phone, ready for emergencies. How fast she ate lunch. The worn-down heels of her shoes. He wanted to fix it all, but she had made it clear, no handouts. So he found other ways. At every meeting, he brought coffee. Always the same order: caramel macchiato, extra shot, light foam. Naomi blinked the first time. How did you remember? You told me once. I say a lot of things. I remember everything you say. Something flickered in her eyes. He also brought sandwiches. Different kinds. Turkey club, grilled cheese, Italian sub. You really love sandwiches, she teased. Ethan smiled gently. They remind me of the best time in my life. Her smile faded. She understood. One afternoon, she mentioned the center's broken heating system. They needed $30,000. They didn't have it. Let me look into it, Ethan said. 3 days later, a brand new system was installed. Naomi confronted him. How much did you pay? I found a contractor who owed me a favor. You paid for it yourself. Does it matter? The kids have heat now. She let it go. But she was watching. During their 4th meeting, a knock interrupted them. Jalen, 16. Aging out of foster care. MS. Brooks, they're kicking me out. I don't have anywhere to go. Naomi's shoulders dropped. I'm trying, she said. But the system always fails. Ethan sat quietly, watching, seeing himself in Jalen. After the boy left, Naomi buried her face in her hands. This happens every week. You can't save them all, Ethan said gently. What if there was a program for kids aging out? That would be amazing. But who'd fund it? I'll make some calls. 1 week later, the news broke. An anonymous donor pledged $500,000 to create a scholarship fund for foster youth. Naomi called him. Was that you? Ethan paused, smiled. I don't know what you're talking about. Don't lie, Naomi said softly. Ethan didn't answer. Silence. Then she asked, does it help the kids? He nodded. Yes. Then does it matter? Naomi felt her chest tighten. He wasn't just talking about money. He was saving lives, just like she taught him to. From then on, Ethan started showing up at the community center more often. Not for meetings, not for business. Just there. I was in the neighborhood, he'd say casually. Never mind that his office was a 30-minute drive. One afternoon, a coworker leaned in and whispered, that man is in love with you. Naomi chuckled. We're just friends. The woman smirked. Friends don't look at each other like that. One evening, as Naomi walked to her car, she shivered. Chicago's winter had arrived. Ethan was there. Quietly, he slipped his coat around her shoulders. Ethan, you'll be cold. I'll be fine. Naomi froze. Those were her words. From 22 years ago. But now, reversed. She looked at him. He remembered everything. And her heart, it cracked wide open. What Ethan didn't know was that she was falling too, despite every fear. And soon, he'd show her just how deep his love truly ran. 3 days later, Ethan called. I want to take you to dinner. No business. Just us. Naomi hesitated. Please. You said, one dinner as friends. She smiled. Okay. Friday at 7. Friday came. Naomi stood in front of her closet for 20 minutes. She owned 3 dresses, all old. She chose the black one. Her grandmother peeked in. Baby, where are you headed all dressed up? Just dinner with a friend. Her grandmother studied her. Is this the boy you used to feed? Naomi smiled. Yes, Grandma. That boy's in love with you. Has been for 22 years. Ethan arrived at exactly 7 p.m. Tailored suit. Simple bouquet of daisies in hand. You remembered, Naomi said. You told me you liked simple things. They drove downtown, to a restaurant Naomi had never dreamed of entering. The hostess greeted Ethan by name. Mr. Caldwell, your table is ready. Private corner. Candles. White tablecloth. A view of the glittering city skyline. Naomi sat, uneasy. Ethan, this is too much. Please, he said. Let me give you one beautiful evening. She relaxed. Slowly. The food was extraordinary. But the conversation? That's what truly fed them. Books. Childhood dreams. Their fears. Their hopes. Naomi opened up about dating. It never works out, she said. Men either get intimidated, or they want to fix me. I don't want to fix you, Ethan said. You're not broken. She whispered. Thank you. After dinner, Ethan turned to her. Can I show you something? What is it? A surprise? Just trust me. She nodded. They drove to Millennium Park. Late. Nearly empty. Winter lights glittered in the silence. Ethan led her to a specific bench. Saturday. I need to tell you something. He pulled out his phone, showed her a photo. A young man, 18, clearly homeless, sitting on that very bench. Naomi leaned in. Is that you? Ethan nodded. After I aged out of foster care, I had nowhere to go. I lived in my car for 6 months. Every night I'd come here, sit on this bench, and look at the lights, those tall buildings, the people inside. I'd wonder if I'd ever make it. He showed the next photo. The red ribbon, still tied around his wrist. Every night, I touched this and told myself, Naomi believed in me. I have to make something of myself. I have to find her. Keep my promise. Naomi was crying. Ethan swiped again, showed a map of Chicago. 12 red pins. These are my properties. Every single one within 2 miles of Lincoln Elementary. Naomi stared. All of them. Every one, he said. Because I knew if you were still in Chicago, you'd be in that neighborhood. Helping people. That's who you are. You've been looking all this time. Ethan nodded. 5 years actively. 22 years without ever forgetting. He pulled out architectural plans. These are for the new community center. He pointed to the dedication plaque. Naomi read it, through tears. The Naomi Brooks Center for Youth Services. In honor of the girl who taught me that kindness can change a life. She covered her mouth. Speechless. I was going to surprise you at the grand opening, he said. But I needed you to understand something. Ethan reached for her hands. Everything I've built, every choice, every dollar. I asked myself, would Naomi be proud? Would this honor what she taught me? Naomi was trembling. You didn't just feed me, Naomi. You saw me. When everyone looked away, you saw me. And you treated me like I mattered. His voice cracked. Do you know what that does to a child who thinks he's worthless? You gave me love, hope, a reason to survive. Ethan, I just gave you lunch. No, you gave me everything. He moved closer. I told you I'd marry you when I was rich. But Naomi, I don't want to marry you because I owe you something. Her breath caught. I want to marry you because over these last few weeks, I've fallen in love with you all over again. He paused. The girl who saved me grew into the most extraordinary woman I've ever met. still saving people, still choosing kindness. Naomi wiped her tears. I don't know what to say. I know it's fast. We just found each other again. But I've loved you for 22 years. I don't want to waste another day. She laughed through the tears. This is insane. If it's too much, say the word. I'll wait. As long as it takes. Naomi looked at him. Saw the boy she once saved. Now a man who had built an empire, guided by her love. I don't know if I'm in love with you yet, she said honestly. But I want to find out. Ethan lit up. Yeah, he whispered. Yeah. They leaned into each other. Foreheads touching. Tears and laughter mingling. I'm going to spend my life trying to make you as happy as you made me, Ethan whispered. You already have. They kissed. Soft. Honest. 22 years in the making. When they pulled apart, both were smiling through tears. Then, her phone rang. She ignored it. It rang again. She checked the screen. Work emergency. Ethan stood immediately. Let me drive you. Together, they rushed to help a teenage girl in crisis. They found her housing. Made sure she was safe. Working side by side, Ethan watched Naomi in action. Her fire. Her strength. Her compassion. And he fell even deeper in love. By midnight, they stood outside her apartment. At the door, Naomi turned. Thank you for tonight, Naomi said softly. For everything. Ethan smiled. Thank you for giving me a chance. She hesitated. That program, for kids aging out of foster care. Were you serious? Ethan looked her in the eye. Dead serious. I want to build something real. Something that actually helps. Naomi's eyes welled up. Then I want to help you build it. Ethan's face lit up. I was hoping you'd say that. They stood close, neither one ready to end the moment. I should go in, Naomi whispered. I know. Still, neither moved. Finally, Ethan stepped back. Good night, Naomi. Good night. He waited until she was inside, until he saw the light come on. Then he looked down at the worn ribbon on his keychain. She's falling, too, he whispered. Upstairs, Naomi leaned against her door, hand pressed over her heart. I'm falling, she whispered. I'm really falling for him. For the first time in 22 years, the promise felt real. Felt possible. The next morning, Ethan called his legal team. I need to set up a foundation. Immediately. What kind of foundation, Mr. Caldwell? For youth aging out of foster care. It needs to be comprehensive. Housing, education, job training, mental health services. Everything. And your starting budget? 10 million, Ethan said. Renewable annually. 2 weeks later, he invited Naomi to his downtown office. She walked in and paused. Floor-to-ceiling windows. Clean lines. Everything modern and expensive. Success was in the air. This is where you work? She asked. Ethan smiled. Most days. But I'd rather be at the community center with you. Naomi raised a brow. So why am I here? I want to show you something. Sit down. Naomi sat. Ethan tapped the touchscreen. A presentation lit up the screen behind him. The title read, The Red Ribbon Initiative. Naomi's breath caught. Ethan clicked through the slides. A comprehensive program for youth aging out of foster care. Ages 16 to 25. He detailed each piece. Transitional housing in his own buildings. Scholarship funds. Job training. Mental health support. Life skills. Legal aid. 10 million in the first year, Ethan said. Our goal is to serve 100 youth, scaling to 500 by year 3. Naomi was speechless. We've already partnered with 12 Chicago companies. They've committed to offering jobs, internships, mentorship. Then Ethan clicked again. But there's one thing missing. He turned to her. The program needs a director. Someone who understands these kids. Someone they can trust. Naomi's heart started to race. Someone like you. He handed her a folder. Inside was a formal offer. Executive director salary, $120,000 full benefits. Staff of 10. Complete operational control. Naomi stared at the numbers. Ethan, this is a real job. Not charity. You'd work harder than you ever have. Reports. Budgets. Board meetings. She looked at him. I don't have a degree in nonprofit management. I've never run something this big. Ethan sat beside her. You have something better. Lived experience. You know what these kids are facing. Naomi held the offer in trembling hands. And Ethan, this job. Is it tied to us? No, he said immediately. Whatever happens between us, this program stands. You'll have full autonomy. A legal contract. No strings. She exhaled. That mattered more than he knew. I want you to take this job because it's right for you and the kids. Not because you feel like you owe me anything. Naomi stood, walked to the window, stared out at the city skyline. My whole adult life, she whispered, I've worked inside a broken system, watching kids fall through the cracks, doing everything I can, knowing it's never enough. Her voice cracked. And now you're offering me a chance to build something that could actually fix it. She turned, tears in her eyes. It's overwhelming. Ethan joined her at the window. Think about Jalen. Think about all the kids who were like me. She looked at him. Why me? You could hire someone with a better resume. Because you care. Because you see these kids as people, not numbers. Because 22 years ago, you sacrificed everything you had to save someone no one else would. Tears streamed down Naomi's cheeks. What if I fail? Ethan touched her shoulder gently. Then we fail together, and we try again. But I don't think you will. I think you'll change hundreds of lives. Naomi sat back down and read the offer. Every line, every clause. Can I make changes? She asked. Design the program my way. That's why I want you. Your vision. Your heart. I'll fund it, handle the business. But this is your program. And if we disagree? Ethan smiled. Then you win. Naomi let out a breath and laughed through her tears. You'd really give me that much control? I've trusted you since I was 10 years old. She read everything again. Slowly. Then finally, she looked up. I have conditions. Name them. We hire from the communities we serve. Staff should include people who've been through the system. Done. I want an advisory board made up of former foster youth. Real decision-making power. Not just photo ops. Absolutely. And one day a week, I keep working at the community center with my current clients, so I never forget why we're doing this. Ethan nodded. We'll write that into your contract. Naomi took a deep breath. Then yes, I'll do it. She smiled. Let's save some kids. Ethan's grin was radiant. Thank you. They shook hands. Professional. Then hugged. Personal. We're going to change lives, Ethan whispered. We already have, she said. Each other's. Over the next month, things moved fast. Contracts signed. Staff hired. Ethan offered office space in one of his buildings. Naomi gave notice at her job, bittersweet goodbyes. Her co-workers cried. You deserve this, they told her. The Red Ribbon Initiative launched quietly. No press. No ribbon cutting. Just work. Naomi interviewed the first 25 youth in the pilot program. All between 16 and 21. All about to age out. All scared. She saw Jalen again. You're in, Jalen, she told him. We've got you. He broke down. Why? Why me? Naomi smiled gently. Because someone helped me once. Now it's my turn. Ethan watched her lead. Brilliant, compassionate, fierce. She hired with intention. Her assistant director was a former foster youth. Someone who understood. A former foster kid turned social worker. A counselor who once slept in the back seat of her car. Together, they didn't just start a program. They built a movement. Ethan secured 20 furnished apartments in his buildings. Safe, clean, affordable. Naomi worked around the clock to make sure every youth got what they needed. GED programs. Community college enrollment. Vocational training, whatever fit. Job readiness workshops followed. Resume help. Mock interviews, workplace skills. Then came real jobs, thanks to local companies that believed in second chances. Mental health support was constant. Therapy, support groups, 24/7 crisis care. Within just 3 months, every one of the first 25 youth had housing. 18 were enrolled in school. 12 had part-time jobs. Jalen was one of them. He earned his GED, started training to become a welder, and moved into his first apartment. He called Naomi, sobbing. I never thought I'd have my own place. Naomi's voice was steady. You earned it, Jalen. You just needed the tools. Every Friday night, Ethan and Naomi met. Sometimes to plan strategy. Sometimes just to be together. The line between business and love blurred, but it felt natural. It felt right. One evening over dinner, Naomi looked across the table. I never really thanked you, she said. For what? For trusting me. For believing I could do this. Ethan reached for her hand. You gave me life, he said. I'm just giving you the chance to give that gift to others. Naomi leaned in and kissed him, gentle, sweet, certain. I'm falling in love with you, Ethan Caldwell. Ethan smiled. I've been in love with you since I was 10 years old, Naomi Brooks. They laughed, holding each other as Chicago sparkled beyond the window, alive with hope. And somewhere out there, kids were being helped. Kids were getting a second chance. Because two people kept a promise. 6 months passed. The Red Ribbon Initiative served 127 youth. A retention rate of 89%. National average? Less than half that. 67 enrolled in education or job training. 45 secured stable housing. 0 returned to homelessness. But numbers weren't the story. People were. Jalen graduated welding school. He landed a full-time job, $42,000 a year. He called Naomi again. Cried again. I never thought I'd have a future. You always had one, she told him. Now you've got the tools to build it. He bought his first car. Sent Naomi a Mother's Day card. You're the only mom I've ever had. She kept that card on her desk. Then there was Kiera, 17, escaped an abusive foster home, had been living in her car. The program found her a place to stay. Got her into therapy. Helped her finish high school. She graduated top of her class. Earned a full scholarship to community college. I want to be like Ms. Naomi, she said. I want to help kids like me. Owen was 16. His parents died in a car accident. He spiraled into silence and depression. Ethan sat with him, one-on-one. Told him his own story. The cold. The ribbon. The promise. You're not worthless, Ethan said. You matter. Owen started therapy. Enrolled back in school. 6 months later, he smiled, for the first time. I want to study business, he said. Be like you, Mr. Caldwell. The ripple spread. A cafe hired 3 youth. A bookstore took on 2. A boutique clothing shop hired 4 more. The neighborhood changed. Crime dropped. Foot traffic rose. New businesses opened. 5 local high schools created red ribbon pipelines, connecting at-risk students to the program before they aged out. 23 earned GEDs. 8 enrolled in college. 15 pursued trades. Then the media caught on. NBC Chicago ran the first feature. The promise that changed a community. A reporter asked, You two make quite a team. Is it all business? Ethan and Naomi exchanged a glance. We're partners, Naomi said. In every way that matters. CNN picked up the story. From homeless to millionaire. The love story behind Chicago's foster care revolution. They aired the full story. The ribbon. The lunchbox. The promise. The reunion. Social media exploded. Hashtag Red Ribbon trended nationwide. People tied red ribbons to their wrists, committing to help just one person. Celebrities joined. Donations poured in. $2 million raised nationwide. PBS released a documentary. The Promise, a love story that saved hundreds. It won awards. Moved hearts. Changed minds. Illinois passed the Red Ribbon Act, increasing funding for youth aging out of care. Ethan and Naomi testified before the state committee. 15 Chicago companies launched similar initiatives. The Caldwell model became a blueprint. Harvard Business School wrote a case study. Milwaukee launched a program. Then Detroit. Then Indianapolis. By year's end, 34 cities had red ribbon programs. Naomi became a national speaker. But she never left home. Every Thursday, she still worked at the original community center. Ethan joined sometimes, quietly helping, sitting with the kids, answering questions. Then came the 6-month anniversary gala. 500 people filled the ballroom. Donors, students, press, leaders. Naomi stood backstage, nervous. Ethan found her. You okay? I'm just thinking about how far we've come. She took his hand. Ethan, when you go on stage tonight, I want you to know, I'm ready. Ready for what? She smiled. You made me a promise 22 years ago. I think it's time. Ethan's eyes widened. Naomi, I love you. I want to spend my life with you. He pulled her into his arms. Are you saying? I'm saying, when you ask, the answer is yes. Ethan laughed, choked up, kissed her. I've been carrying a ring in my pocket for 3 weeks. Then tonight is the perfect time. They walked on stage together, hand in hand. Ethan spoke to the crowd. about the program, about the work, about the future. Then he paused. His voice softened. But none of this would exist without one person. He turned to her. Naomi Brooks saved my life 22 years ago. The crowd erupted in applause. Ethan dropped to one knee. Gasps filled the room. He opened a box. A simple red ruby, symbolizing the ribbon. Naomi Brooks, he said, 22 years ago, I promised I'd marry you when I was rich. Will you marry me? Naomi's eyes were full of tears and light. Smiling, she nodded. Yes. 1,000 times yes. Yes, she said through tears. I'll marry you. The room exploded. People leapt to their feet. Applause thundered. Cheers, sobs, hands covering mouths. In the middle of it all, Ethan and Naomi kissed. Finally, after 22 long years. The promise made as children had been kept. 1 year later, they chose something simple. The wedding was small, just 100 guests, held at Lincoln Elementary School. The fence, the very one where Naomi had once slipped food through the bars, still stood. Preserved, honored. A small plaque was mounted beside it. Where kindness began. Red ribbons were everywhere, wrapped around chairs, tied to railings, woven into flowers. Naomi walked down the aisle with her grandmother beside her, both of them crying. Ethan waited at the altar, tears streaming freely down his face. When it was time for vows, Ethan spoke first. Naomi, when I was 10 years old and starving, you fed me. When I was lost and invisible, you saw me. You gave me a reason to stay alive. I promised to show up for you every day, to love you fully, fiercely, and forever. Naomi took a breath, steadying herself. Ethan, you took a single sandwich and turned it into a movement. You took a red ribbon and turned it into a legacy. I promised to walk beside you, to remind you every single day that you were always worthy, long before the money, long before the success. They kissed as husband and wife. The reception was held at the Naomi Brooks Center. Program participants performed music, poetry, and speeches. Jalen stood to give a toast. To the couple who taught us something we never knew, he said, voice shaking. That family isn't about blood. It's about who chooses to love you. Later that evening, Ethan and Naomi slipped away from the crowd. They walked back to the fence. Together, they tied fresh red ribbons onto the metal bars. For the next kid who needs hope, Ethan said quietly. That's when a small voice spoke behind them. Excuse me. I'm Lily. I'm hungry. She was about 8 years old. Black. Shy. Thin. Ethan and Naomi looked at each other, their hearts breaking and lifting at the same time. Naomi knelt down to Lily's level. Come with us, she said gently. Let's get you something to eat. They brought Lily inside, fed her, and made sure she was safe. She ate slowly, carefully, like she didn't trust the food to stay. Finally, she looked up. Why are you helping me? Naomi touched the locket at her chest and smiled. Because someone once helped him, she said, nodding toward Ethan. Ethan knelt and pulled a red ribbon from his pocket. He tied it gently around Lily's wrist. Keep this, he told her. It means someone believes in you. You're going to be okay. I promise. Lily stared at the ribbon. Thank you, she whispered. As a social worker led her away, Naomi leaned into Ethan. The cycle keeps going, she said softly. Forever. They stood together, looking at the building, lights glowing, kids inside laughing, healing, finally safe. In just 2 years, the Red Ribbon Initiative had served 847 people. Its model had spread to 34 cities. Every participant received a ribbon. Ethan and Naomi walked back inside, hand in hand. Behind them, hundreds of red ribbons fluttered on the fence, each one marking a life touched, a promise kept, kindness still moving forward. Text appeared on screen. The Red Ribbon Initiative has placed 847 system-impacted individuals into stable housing and education programs. The model has been replicated in 34 cities across the United States. Ethan and Naomi Caldwell continue to lead the program together. They are expecting their first child, a daughter they plan to name Hope. Ethan and Naomi walking away from the center, hand in hand. The camera lingers on the fence. Hundreds of red ribbons moving in the wind. Each one a life changed. Each one a promise honored. Each one proof that a single act of kindness, a sandwich freely given, can change the world. If you're watching this right now and you're struggling, if you're hungry, homeless, or alone, please don't give up. Someone out there is looking for you. Your Naomi is coming. Your Ethan is coming. Hold on. And if you're watching this and you have something to give, even something small, even something you think won't matter, give it. You never know whose life you might change. A sandwich saved Ethan. A ribbon gave him hope. A promise brought him home. What will you give? What promise will you keep? Naomi taught Ethan something the world often forgets. Kindness isn't a transaction. It's an investment in a future you may never live to see. But that future is real. It's 847 people, 34 cities, countless lives touched. And it all started with one girl, one sandwich, and one choice to care. Your choice matters too. If this story moved you, don't let it stop here. Share it. Spread it. Tie your own red ribbon. Be someone's reason to believe. Because love, real love, always keeps its promises. Thank you for watching. Subscribe me and hit the notification bell to not miss new stories. Bye.